This talk and the JavaScript for WordPress conference are brought to you by our sponsors at 10up and WP Buffs. 10up makes a better web with finely crafted websites and tools for content creators. Check out their junior and senior dev positions at 10up.com/careers. WP Buffs provides 24/7 fully managed support and white label agency services. Find out how they can help you focus on what you do best at wpbuffs.com/partnerships. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are live with the very first JavaScript for WordPress conference. Now, we are getting going here, but I do want to just make sure that we are testing and everything is working before we officially kick off. So let me let you know that the chat and discussion for all this is going to be happening in the JavaScript for WordPress community Slack. And you could get that by clicking on the link in the bottom here. So there should be a join JS for WP Slack conference group. So once you join that and you go through the auto invite process, there's a channel for Slack. There's a channel for conference. Hop in there and it looks like everybody's in there. Now, this is going to be great because you could ask people questions and they'll come back here async and answer them. I was just a little bit worried about with time and everything and probably having some pretty complex questions. That we want to be able to really discuss them in depth even after things end. So we won't have the chat and question features enabled inside of Crowdcast itself, but you can do that there. So it looks like folks are already in there. I'm just going to make sure. Can everyone hear me? Just want to make sure. Okay, good. Okay. Why don't we get started? First of all, for those who don't know me, howdy, my name's Zac Gordon. I'm an educator primarily in the WordPress space, and for the last couple of years, been heeding Matt Mullenweg's call to help folks learn JavaScript deeply. And this conference, honestly, has just been kind of a fun, dreamy, wouldn't that be cool? Why don't we do this kind of idea? So I'm very grateful for all of the speakers who agreed to come out and talk today. Many of these you might hear at WordCamps and other places. And the talks that they're going to be giving are kind of next level. We're assuming across the board that everybody kind of already knows basic JavaScript and knows the default kind of intro talks about a lot of the subjects we're going to cover. Now, if you don't, that's okay. You don't really need to, but that's where we're going to have as a jumping off point. So for the speakers that have come forward and put some work into doing some new talks for this, I'm really grateful, and some really instrumental people that we'll hear from. And I'll take some time in a moment to go through some of the talks. There weren't descriptions, so I'm going to expand on them a little bit. But I also have to thank our sponsors. So I'm really excited for the sponsors that we have because 10up is a big name in the WordPress industry. Hopefully all of you have heard of them before, an agency that builds really high quality work and also employs some great people. And they're hiring for both junior and senior devs. So those junior devs positions can be hard to get, especially in a big reputable place. And if you're at this conference trying to learn this stuff, they might want to have their eyes on you. So I'm really happy that this conference is syncing people who are aspiring to be at some of these types of companies, and they have a bunch of positions open. So you'll hear us talk about that throughout the day. And thank you for helping fund this and make it free. 10up, super grateful, and got a lot of good friends and family there. We also have to thank WP Buffs, run by a local DC friend of mine, and we'll get into all of that in more depth, but they are a service agency. So while the services that they provide might be support for plugins or themes or just agency overflow, dealing with clients and updates, and they might not necessarily be building your outsourcing to build your latest new JavaScript feature. You could focus on that, and they could help take care of a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So you're gonna hopefully learn some things about WP Buffs that go above and beyond your normal kind of WordPress service agency. So I'm really excited to have their support as well, and because it's DC hometown local, extra happy about that. So we'll be interspersing throughout the talks, talking with our sponsors a little bit more. There's just two of them, so I want you to get to know them well. Okay. Now I have to bring on another person because not only could I not do this conference without all the people I've mentioned so far, the other thing is that I couldn't do 2 tracks by myself. And I thought about all the different ways to do this. And it's just like, I cannot do it. So I am very grateful to my co-host, Christy Chirinos, who is the mastermind brains in partnership with Josh Pollock behind Caldera Forms. And she is going to be coming on to co-host. And this is great because she knows a number of the speakers from her own talks. You'll hear her speaking at like WordCamp US and WordCamp Europe on financial planning and management of companies, has an MBA background, very smart whip, and knows some of these devs as well. So she'll be running track 2 while I'll be running track 1. And thank you. I just want to bring her on real quick and introduce her to everyone. So let's see. Hopefully she's here. Bring her on screen. Live TV here, you know, we're connecting. Digitally remote all together. We have more than 150 people so far hanging out. Howdy, y'all. I am so excited that you're here. Some of you are watching in groups. Let's see, coming on hopefully here. Maybe logged into a different account, so that may be the problem. Okay. Yeah, she'll be on in a moment. We'll have her on. I'll keep talking about a few things just to keep it moving. Now, in addition to all of that, this event is free and funded, and I'm really happy about that. But we also have on the site a pay what you like option. So if you find some value in this and you're watching with an agency that might have some funds to contribute, I'd love to accept anything that you're offering there, but completely optional. This is all going to be free. And all of this content will be recorded and trickled out in the coming time after the conference with more in-depth stuff from all the speakers and things like that. So let's see, I'm going to try bringing back our co-host real quick. That's all right. We're going to work out our kinks now so that everything today is going to be real smooth. Let's see, accepting and connecting should be booting up here. I'm going to hop in the conference channel. Howdy, everyone. Yeah, the musical instruments in the background. Try to play a little bit of everything. Here we go. Co-host, welcome, Christy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, like you said, live TV. I saw the invitation, and we still experience a little bit of delay, but I'm here. I'm super excited to be here. Track 2 will be fun, and yeah, let's have a full day of JavaScripting going.
I love it. Well, thank you again, folks attending track 2. We'll definitely see a lot of Christy. So thank you again, and we'll see you again soon. Okay. All right, so in our time remaining, what I would like to do, like I said, is talk a little bit about each of the different talks today because they are all so packed and full. I know it's 2 tracks. You want to watch 2 at once. And you know what? If it was me, I probably would. I'd try to listen to 2 tracks at once. You could open them in 2 different browsers and go at it. Or if not, over time, you could go back. So try to hit the ones you're most interested in today and know that the rest will be coming back for you. But let's jump into that. I'm just going to share my screen real quick and share a little bit with you about these talks. So you can get to everything at javascriptforwp.com/conference. And oh, sorry about that. There's no, we don't have it. Okay, let's keep going. And here we have our lovely sponsors. So please make sure you click through to see them. It's not going to take you to the, well, this will take you to the main 10up site, but we have you linking directly to the careers so you can see some of the positions that they have open. And we'll be talking about some of these later as well, which is great. And WP Buffs, it's going to jump you past their normal stuff that you would kind of the basic consumer stuff. And I think something that you all would be much more interested in, and I know other shops have taken them up on, which is their more agency white label program. So it's going to hop you over to there. So please go check out their stuff. Like I said, there's a pay what you like if you want to give something back. Not necessary. Okay. Here's how it's going to work. This button is going to take you to the live stream for 1. If you're watching this, you already got here. Live stream for 2, hop over there. You will have to log in with email, which you already know. Sorry, that's a double process. Apparently, Crowdcast really wants you capturing user data, so I couldn't figure out how to turn that off. All right. First up here, after we finish up, we are going to hear from Tammy Lister about the user experience bridge. So she has a lot of experience working in user experience, communicating with designers, developers. This is a myth that I think, well, let me not get too controversial. this is an issue. I don't really think it's an issue. So I really like her approach about talking about user experience as a bridge that brings design and development and higher thinking and love and balance and harmony to the universe and all of our projects. So I'm really excited for that. And it was really important to me that we had some stuff on design, so it wasn't all just super dev, because we need to think about that as JS developers as well. Now, on the other side of that talk, David Hayes, who has done a really great in-depth course on security, is going to be talking about not just JavaScript security, but working with the WordPress REST API and things that you want to pay attention to security-wise when you're building out your own custom stuff, which is really common when you're building out API-driven things, especially decoupled, and the more you have to build out or custom functionality. So that's going to be real primo, and especially if that's something that you're doing, then you're going to want to pick up what's in there. Now, Adam's talk, I'm super excited about. You hopefully already know about PHP hooks in WordPress. Well, JavaScript hooks are coming and have already come in, and they're going to allow a whole new way, a much easier way of interacting with a lot of the different functionality inside of WordPress from a JavaScript perspective. So I'm really excited. This is something he's been doing, and as you'll hear, is not a new project, but there has been traction, and he's a really great person to talk about that from his involvement with it. Now, for JavaScript build tools, of course, JS for WPConf, we got to have a build tools talk, right? You got to get the nerdy stuff in there. So my good friend Julian, who we just did a advanced Gutenberg workshop out in WordCamp Europe, and he has also worked a lot with the Roots framework, which is kind of the Uber framework for building themes if you want to do everything in the coolest, latest way. And he's going to take you through the evolution of how those build tools have evolved in that project up to the most modern kind of Webpack forward-thinking JS stuff. And I think you'll learn a lot from that and get a good scope of where things have been, where things are, what you might still be exposed to, and what you might want to change. So obligatory, solid. It's going to be a good build tools if you like that. Next one, I don't know what y'all are going to do. This is two tough ones back to back. Mike from XWP is someone who I got to know quite a bit from doing some JavaScript chats with the wonderful folks over there at XWP. And he's also done some fun work with progressive web apps and building these sites in the WordPress context in a whole different way that connects with that system of delivery and is going to be faster, of course, more JS driven. So he's going to take us into that. And that's something that's not totally new, but hasn't been totally implemented everywhere, maybe even browsers in some cases, but also in WordPress. So I'm really excited, some good cutting edge stuff there. And JP, my good man, Josh, hopefully you're around watching, talking about the Redux layer abstraction, WP data in WordPress, which is huge because now we have Redux not to build just our own things, but to access WordPress. And it's a game changer. So another huge one to check out. We're going to do a lunch break, take a break, hang out, and we'll come back with GraphQL. Really excited about this. Jason, I've gotten to know, and I've really enjoyed watching him give different GraphQL talks, but this one's a little bit new. He's going to integrate it with Gutenberg, show you some cool things, and of course, just continue to show how GraphQL is a really flexible tool that works really well with building stuff in JavaScript, and not just your own decoupled stuff, but even working with the good old GB. So I'm very excited that Jason will be here doing that. Andrew is going to be giving another, what I think is an obligatory talk, just like we have the JavaScript build tools. We got to talk about that continuous integration. We've got to talk about that automation, and we have to talk about the full breadth and scope, and also how, well, I won't give away his suggestions, but he is someone who working at Pantheon with big agencies and the kind of integrations that they do and have running just on their own stack and what you might see through clients is a ton. So really experienced person to be talking about this. And I hope for a lot of folks, it'll be an inspiration to kind of expand your game or up your game in that department. All right. I know they're all so good. I hope this is okay. I didn't put up descriptions, so you're getting the my personal take on what I think with the different talks. So give you a few more moments here. I'm going to go through the rest of these. My good friend Jacob from out west, who has been doing some really fun Vue projects for a while at Zeek Interactive, is going to talk about Vue from the whole client side down to the server side, the decoupled, the data structure, Nuxt. He's just going to get deep inside of Vue. And just because we have React inside of Core doesn't mean you're going to use it for all your projects, and doesn't mean you don't need to use things that bring you joy. So I'm really excited for Jacob. And I think a lot of folks who have fallen in love and enjoy using Vue have been like, what's up with Vue? So Jacob, thanks for having us covered there. All right. Brian Richards, good friend from WP Sessions, always bringing on experts in the field to do talks. He's also an educator in his own right, has some great courses, always someone good to see in a workshop or speaking, have gotten to know him over time, have a lot of respect for him and what he does. And what folks may not know about some of the stuff he does is training teams and helping teams grow and analyzing teams and thinking a lot about what does it take, what is repeatable knowledge that everybody needs to do, and how can you get that in forms that people could access? How do you do continuing education? So if you are one of those project managers out there or senior devs out there, and this kind of training is on your mind, you gotta hop in there, not just to hear what he has to say, but I'd love to hear some folks gathered around this so that we could collectively talk about some of these things, because place we could learn a lot, and the community helps strengthen learning communities, right? Or learning culture internally. So Brian Richards is going to be key, a higher level. If that's the one for you, then this is just going to be so good. So thank you, Brian, for doing that. All right, next on the list, architecture, just the one word, right? Tanya, she's going to teach you everything about architecture. Just don't worry about it, just everything. For those who don't know Tanya, know the code. She is a very experienced engineer, programmer, trainer, mentor. And when I say very experienced, I mean building machines and programming systems far more complicated than WordPress, and working with huge projects and huge teams, and someone who, as an educator, I have just fallen in love with this person, getting to know behind the scenes, both personally, education-wise, professionally. Her code reviews are like pop, 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 pop. I love it. And yet kind soul. So she's going to talk at a high level about some things that need to be on our mind about architecture. And we're going to get not too down into the nitty gritty, but we will talk about things like component architecture and what do we get when we introduce something like React, but how reusable is that really? And how can we really think about architecture on a bigger level? And just, you'll see, listen, if you haven't listened to her talk, it just gets you caught up in it, and you go with her and you're like, wow, those are really good. So architecture, another important topic. And thank you, Tanya, for covering that, because I'm glad I don't have to give that talk, and she's a good one for it. All right. Last and certainly not least, folks, I am really excited for this talk. For those who don't know Chris Ferdinandi, he is an educator in the JavaScript at large space. So he really has gotten a name as someone who will teach you how to do straight up vanilla JavaScript instead of jQuery or other approaches, and really do it right, really have it forwards and backwards compatible, clean code, just really another educator out there who I've fallen in love with his stuff and great personality and vibe. And he's going to be giving a talk that is really geared towards people in the JavaScript space, right? So people that are already using the modern stacks know most of what we're going to talk about today. It's kind of their bread and butter, but they might not know how they could use WordPress. And it might just be like, why would I ever use WordPress? Or you know what I'm saying if you're in WordPress, like that kind of stigma. But he does some clever things with building his own site and conceptualizing how you could pull in WordPress into this decoupled. Oh, sorry, let me pause for a second. Is someone looping? Sorry, just want to check that I'm not freezing up here. Okay, keep on going. All right, Chris, let me praise on you some more. Okay, we're good. So this talk, like I said, he's not just showing like how to build a decoupled site. So it's not just like a normal headless. It's really more complex than that, and thinking through the creative things you could do and leveraging, picking and choosing what you use from WordPress. It is pretty robust to do some really custom and unconventional things, but having super slick front end and just really melding this stack. And I'll talk about this more later, but this is one of my goals for next year, is to do a course that's super slick on the best way to build a headless CMS and integrate. And Chris is a big inspiration and secret resource for that. So that talk is going to be killer, and one that if you are more from that JS community, I'm really interested in your feedback. And if you're watching this and later on you see this come out, once the videos start getting released, please share this with folks, because I think that it will help developers in the JavaScript community come in and look at WordPress in fresh eyes, and that expands, all of what we're doing, and that's great. So those are going to be the speakers. I'm not giving a talk. I love this conference. I didn't even have to prepare a talk. I'm doing the intro and the outro, although I am very excited. I have a pretty big announcement to bring at the end of the day. So I would love if you hung around for the end, and I'll share that with you, and won't take up too much of your time. So with all that covered, that is going to be the schedule. Hopefully y'all see it. Hopefully y'all have some things you want to hear. Let's like pretend we're in the hallway chats, okay? Like go into the Slack channel and be like, hey, what do you all want to see? What do you want to see? I want to see this event. I want to see this talk, right? Let's get some camaraderie. Maybe some of you will take notes for each other. I heard that there's some folks that are streaming this in their office. If you're streaming this, will you take a photo, please, and just post it up? I'd love to see folks in their office. And one folks said, well, we're just going to record all of it at once so that we could have our own copies. And I love it. Go for it, y'all. Working within the restraints of Crowdcast here. So we are right on time. We've got 5 minutes left before we transition over. What we're going to do is if you're staying in track 1, you'll stay in this and you'll automatically get pulled over. You'll see a blank screen for a little bit, a few minutes while we get ready and then get pulled over. But that should go pretty smooth. And if you want to watch track 2, then I'd suggest you close this browser just because it might take up resources to have both of them open unless that's what you want to do. Go back to the conference site, open up track 2, log in there, and you'll be ready for that. Okay, so I have a few minutes left. I just recently started a project that's very dear to my heart, office yoga. So doing weekly office yoga, just stretches and breathing, because yoga is something that has brought me a lot of, how do I even want to say it? Has helped me out a lot in a lot of different ways over years. And so I'm excited to start sharing that. And I thought I would just take a few minutes to do some real simple stretching with us together. Now, you don't have to. You can tune out and go get a Red Bull now. Or if you want to, you could follow along if you don't look too weird for others. So you can do this sitting down, or I'm going to stand up. We're breaking all the stereotypes here of developers. Okay, so interlace your fingers, put them out in front, inhale and bring your arms up. Stretch to one side, exhale, inhale up, stretch to the other side, inhale up, exhale, bring your arms down, shake them out. All right, this time bring your arms across you completely. Take a big breath in and squeeze all the muscles of your body a little bit. Exhale, release. Shake it out. Inhale, other way. Squeeze. When we squeeze and then release, that helps our body release tension. I said nice and gentle, just a minute here. And then the other part of yoga that's great is the breathing. So one of the breathings that can get us nice and activated if we just want to pick up our energy involves a little pump into the navel and just rapid little breaths in and out the mouth. Now, it might be slower for you. You might have one nose clogged or both, so it might not work. That's okay. But if it's comfortable, we're going to do this for a few moments. So if you're comfortable pumping the navel, otherwise short little rapid breaths. And the idea is you want to start bringing a ton of oxygen to your body, and that's really going to wake you up, get you going, especially if we're watching screens here. Try to pick up the pace, double time now. Bring your arms up, big breath in. Squeeze all the muscles of your body, your face, stretch, stretch, stretch. Big breath out your mouth. Let's just sit for a moment, okay? Let's just tune in together. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. And rather than meditating for a moment here on clearing your mind, try to focus your mind on feeling happy, on creating a vibe of positivity, of can-do, of goodness. Like try to think of something that makes it, try to picture something, like tangibly try to create that feeling, not the normal meditation. Just sit there for a moment. Self-generating happiness meditation. All right, y'all didn't sign up for this. I hope that helps tune us in a little bit. We're going to have a wonderful day with all of this. We are right on time. Please stay understanding as we go through this. Crowdcast, 2 channels, bringing all these speakers in. Just like a WordCamp, something's bound to go wrong, a little plug here, a little plug there, but hopefully we have it all covered, and we'll stay in the Slack for any communications in case something goes down. But really, worst case scenario, when stuff goes down and we might have to reboot, just stay on that page and it should refresh itself automatically if something goes down and then comes back up. But of course, we're not expecting any problems, right? It'll be fine. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the attendees we have. Holy wow. We've got 258 people, 59 more. Wow. 3 more just came in. Howdy, everyone. Thank you so much. We're going to go dark for a few moments here while we set up. Go get yourself in the next track. Go take a break. Go get whatever you need to get done. And then we're going to kick this thing off strong. All right, folks, let's get ready for a great day of JavaScripting. See you soon. Thanks for watching this talk from the JavaScript for WordPress conference. If you're interested in more talks like this, head over to javascriptforwp.com/conference to see an archive of all talks, as well as information about upcoming events.